Hello and welcome. Today I wanted to do a review that's a little bit different from my norm. People see these swords behind me every so often and have commented on them rather extensively over the years, but most of what I do is I sit in front of all these swords and I talk about lightsabers. So today I wanted to talk about one of the swords that I have hanging around, and this one is a custom sword. This is from a company called Bare Iron, and they're actually local to me. The swordsmith is named Taylor, and he works there, and he's just started out, I think about a year and a half ago, making swords. So this is one that he made for my wife, and so I wanted to give you guys a look at this sword, what it does. And you know what it does, it's a sword, but this sword, how it's made, what the quality is like, and I'll post a link, so if you like what he does, you can contact him. I'm sure he'd be willing to do some sort of mail order commission or something like that. But so this is a custom dragon rapier from Taylor at Bare Iron. So let me go ahead and give you some close-ups of this. First off, Taylor uses carbon steel, so this is good quality steel. It's not folded like a katana because that's super crazy to expect anybody to do, but it is hammered, so it's not like drop forged or anything, and it's actually very nice quality blade. Something that you have to keep in mind, though, if you have a nice quality blade that's made out of carbon steel, you need to be very careful with it because the oil on your fingers will cause it to rust. So you need to make certain to keep it fingerprint clean. You also should keep it oiled with mineral oil or some kind of gun oil. If you keep a good oil set or a good oil coat on it when it's not in use, then the carbon steel will last pretty much forever. But you have to take more care of it than that stainless steel thing that you just throw on the wall, take down, mess around with, and then put back up on the wall. So let me see if I can get you a close-up on some of the texture in this steel. There we go. So you can see that sort of those sort of lines of oxidization there. It's a really interesting texture that he's got to this steel that gives it a very interesting, or very good feel of authenticity. The dragon that he's put on here is basically sheet steel that he's molded into a dragon. Now, one of the things I liked about this is he took these points here on the end, which can be pretty dang deadly, and he turned them up a little bit so that you can handle it and you don't have to worry about those things snagging your hand because the points are turned up. You do have to worry if it's on the wall or something like that because the points will snag you if you're walking past, but they're turned up for use, which is nice. The wood handle that he's got on here is a really nice heartwood. I think he said it was plum or something like that. It's a fairly tight fitting. It's not as tight as I've seen. Some of the tightest fittings on handles, if you ting the handle, it kind of sounds like you've tinged the blade, so you hear the metal. There's a little bit more of a thud to this, so it's not a fully tight fitting on that, but it is tight enough that it doesn't rattle at all, and it's very sturdy. We've got a brass pommel here that works as a decent counterweight, but the texture on this wood is nice too. He's put sort of a finger grip in here. One of his goals when he makes swords is to try to make them as usable as possible. So he came in and I was showing him an Italian grip fencing foil and some of the other swords that were around when I was talking about the design on this because my wife is a fencer and so I wanted to make certain that it was as functional as possible. So he's given me this this basket hilt right here that's a hand protector, but we've also got a sword that can be used like this. Can be gripped like this. It's got a grip in the back, so if you want to do a full Italian grip on it, you can. All right. The blade right here as well, so that we're not touching the tang of the blade, he's actually created a sleeve out of this iron that wraps around the tang of the blade, which extends down through here. So that's a nice touch, because in a lot of these that I've seen, when this is still the steel from the blade, if it's that carbon steel, your finger is going to touch here, and even if it's not sharp, this spot's going to start to rust over time. He's protected that tang, which is very nice. So it's a very rustic design. It's not clean and polished, but for a one-off custom sword from somebody who's just starting out, it's a very solid design, very light, very well balanced. I'm very happy with this sword. My wife is as well. I gave this to her for Christmas last year. But just figured I'd take this down off the wall and give you guys a little bit of a look at something that's not a lightsaber. Hopefully this review has been interesting to you. If it has, please join me back for more, and I'll see you next time.